Also, Drew Carney is out and about in my hometown of McMinnville this morning. Look at all those grapes. He's learning how wine is made. You think he's going to do a little Lucy and crush some grapes this morning? I Love Lucy?
Oh, that's right.
Remember
Yeah, Lucy and Ethel. Yeah.
I mean, that's vintage.
That was a famous episode. That was vintage.
We'll see what kind of trouble he'll get into today, because you know he will. It is 5:11. We'll be right back. Well, Drew Carney is out and about this morning. He is in McMinnville.
And he is at Stone Wolf Vineyards. Is he doing some wine tasting? They're pouring. Is he tasting?
We're getting there. We're getting there. It is Friday, Russ and Brenda. We do have quite a bit of show to go here this morning. We will taste at some point, but we're really talking about the winemaking process this morning, and we're celebrating the arrival of the harvest season here at Stone Wolf Vineyards in McMinnville. More on their story starting next on News Channel 8 at Sunrise.
Welcome back. It's 5:23. Drew Carney is in wine country this morning.
He is live down in McMinnville, where the folks at Stone Wolf Vineyards are busy making great bottles of wine. Drew, what are you doing?
Some would call it wine country, others would call it Brenda Braxton's hometown. McMinnville is where we are, inside the tasting room at Stone Wolf Vineyards, yes, and they are right smack dab in the middle of harvest season. Jessica Chahovic, part of the winemaking team here at Stone Wolf, Director of Operations would be another title. Let's talk about this harvest season. A lot has been written about it so far. I've seen our own Joe Smith do a story about it earlier this week. It's late. The weather didn't cooperate earlier in the year. What does this mean for us, the consumer? What does it mean for you guys, the winemakers?
Yes, dealing with a cooler climate, it is difficult to see what's coming upon us. However, we're not quite at the point where we fully know what to expect at this vintage.
So don't make any conclusions at this point in the game.
Absolutely not. Don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have poured some wine for us here this morning, and I'm looking at your labels and I go, okay, that makes sense. It says Stone Wolf right there. This one over here says Rascal. So what is this whole Rascal Stone Wolf thing all about?
Stone Wolf was our founding brand here.
Okay.
However, Rascal is something we came up with in the last couple of years, dealing with the economy and some sales issues there. This is a wonderful value wine that you can find in stores all over Oregon. Great value, great price.
You know, Russ Lewis mentioned, are we doing some wine tasting this morning? That would be the easy way to do this segment. We're more about the wine making this morning. They've got the winemakers across the way here at their production facility. Hard at work this morning. I feel like I know what I need to know. Now it's time to go to work. So Russ and Brenda, we will start to make the wine in about 15 minutes from now. We are out of time for now, so back to you.
Just a suggestion, but I think the tasting would also be the most enjoyable way to do the segment. Just a suggestion.
I think he's angling for a bottle to come back to the newsroom.
Thanks, Drew.
Thank you, Drew.
Drew Carney is out and about this morning. He's down in McMinnville, and he is learning how wine is made. Drew?
Yes, we are hanging out at Stone Wolf Vineyards this morning, Russ and Brenda. They, like all the winemakers in our area, very busy this time of the year. Fall harvest is upon us, and we're going to take a behind-the-scenes look at how exactly they make their wines here. We'll start that process coming up right after this. Get ready, grapes. You're the star of the next segment. This is News Channel 8 at Sunrise.
Philly not coming through. What's wrong with those people from Philadelphia?
Take it up with Drew Carney.
I don't know. The Phillies and now the soccer team out there. I don't know. Drew Carney this morning is getting a lesson in winemaking.
Yeah, he wants to forget about sports and start drinking. He's at Stone Wolf Vineyards in McMinnville. He's
been doing that since the Phillies got knocked out of the playoffs.
The two of you have a Friday attitude about you, I sense, Russ and Brenda. Let me start this segment with the dumping of the grapes. Okay, Zach, show me some grapes this morning out here. Stone Wolf Vineyards in McMinnville, our location. We're actually at their winemaking facility in McMinnville here. And yes, grapes being poured into, there must be some sort of crusher there, Zach.
It is a crusher to stemmer, and this is where we separate the berries from the stems. And after it makes it sway through the crusher to stemmer, it makes it sway down the hose into the must pump and into our 5-ton press.
Okay, now we're going to go over that real slowly here again in a moment. Can you operate that forklift and talk to me at the same time? That's legal?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, let's start with the grapes themselves. I have a nice handful of the grapes we're working with. What are we making here right now, Zach?
This is Chardonnay, nice fruit, real good, clean, nice berry size.
Do you know exactly where this fruit came from?
Yeah, Kramer Vineyards.
Okay. So we're producing local, we're picking local, we're making local. These grapes go into that crusher in December. We're going to break it down again. This is sort of the first phase of the wine making. How long before they come out of that crusher in December and we have some juice?
Well, pretty much immediately, because right now you see the stems going into the trash bin. Okay. And then it makes it through the crusher, which pops the berries, so allows us to get a more a healthy press load out of it, you know, because you don't want to send whole berries in there.
And then they come over here. Should we turn Steve around? Eventually, they make their way through over to this here beautiful machine. Good morning there, sir. Sorry to be in your way. And what exactly is happening? What do you call this thing?
This is our 5-ton press.
This is the press.
This is where we get the juice.
And I can actually see the juice pouring out from the bottom as we speak here this morning.
Yeah, it separates all the skin and the seeds, because we don't want that in the juice when we're making wine.
Chardonnay, obviously there's a little bit difference in making Chardonnay from the Pinot Gris, from the Pinot Noir. How long between the time when we're doing the pressing and producing some juice before this will actually be wine that I can drink?
Well, we have to have it go through a couple of stages. We put it into a tank, we let it settle, we rack it off, then we actually start the fermentation. And Chardonnay, we try to do a nice slow cold fermentation to get good aromas and colors. So I guess if you come back in a couple of months, you can taste it early, but it's normally a year before we bottle.
Are you inviting me back at 4:30 in the morning a few months from now? Is that what you're doing here?
Man, you know it, sir.
We are, again, guys, in Brenda Braxton's hometown, McMinnville, this morning, and we're not going anywhere. There will be some punching down of the grapes this morning. Hello there, grape juice. We're looking forward to you becoming wine. Russ and Brenda, we are out of time for now. We'll have more from here later. Back to you.
All right, sounds good. Chardonnay, are you kidding? I'll drink to that. Thank you.
We'll come back with them in a couple of months.
Yeah.
Why not? It's
Drew is out and about at Stone Wolf Vineyards in McMinnville, and he's learning about the fine art of winemaking. Drew.
Yes, winemaking underway this morning. We're doing a little punching down here in McMinnville, Russ and Brenda. Harvest season came a little late this year, but the fact of the matter is, it is here. We'll have more on the winemaking process at Stone Wolf Vineyards coming up this hour, right here on News Channel 8 at Sunrise.
We're coming up on 6:25 this morning. Oregon winemakers are hard at work right now harvesting their crops.
And Drew Carney is showing us what goes into the production process. He's live at Stone Wolf Vineyards in McMinnville. Good morning, Drew.
Good morning, Russ and Brenda. Yes, their winemaking facility here at Stone Wolf right there in McMinnville. And they are making wine as we speak this morning because this is the busiest time of the year. We're catching them in their busiest weeks. Harvest season has arrived. Winemaker Matt Chikovic, can I bother you for just a moment, sir?
Yeah, no problem.
We saw the hard work, the physical labor in the crush pad. There was forklifts, moving grapes, grapes being crushed. In here, a little quieter, science happening here. What is the day-to-day activity that you need to do in the lab during harvest season?
Well, right here I have some juice samples, and one of the most important things we do is daily monitoring of the sugar and temperature levels in our ferments. That allows us to make sure everything's going okay. We've got this really cool new tool here. You can try it.
May I play with the tool?
Don't drop it, that's the only thing.
Okay.
Brand new, it's digital, allows us to measure the Brix, which is the sugar level, and the temperature of the wine.
Okay.
Just pull it out slowly.
I'm bringing juice into the cool tool.
Yep.
It's saying some things there. What is this telling me?
You have Brix, which is the sugar concentration in the wine.
Yes.
As it ferments, that will be going down. And you also have the temperature there, which kind of allows us to understand the fermentation kinetics that are going on.
Someone told me to tilt it forward in my ear. I was obviously not showing the readings very good. Here's the bottom line. You're too smart for this out and about segment, Matt. Some of what you just said went over my head. The bottom line is you're making quality wines here, correct, sir?
Correct.
Okay. I gathered all the information I needed to gather then. I will get back to helping with the physical labor. That is my strong suit. Some punching down, as they call it in the winemaking business. Russ and Brenda coming your way, our way, in about 20 minutes. Would you like your tool back?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Russ and Brenda, back to you.
He may not understand it, but at least he didn't break it.
That's true. You know, a snarky person might say, is that the threshold for intelligence? If it goes over Drew's head? But who would say that?
Who's snarky?
Thank
you, Drew. Drew Carney is out and about this morning. He is at the Stone Wolf Vineyards down in McMinnville. What do they have you doing now?
Still making the wine, and now we are punching down, Russ and Brenda. This is my favorite part of the winemaking process. We will talk more about that process, talk more about the history of Stone Wolf Vineyards in McMinnville, and my biggest objective in the upcoming segment is to not fall into the fermenter. That story after this on News Channel 8 at Sunrise.
Well, all morning long, Drew Carney has been taking us behind the scenes at Stone Wolf Vineyards in McMinnville.
And Drew, I know you've been working on making the wine. Have you had a chance to taste any of it yet?
You know, Russ, I have not. They have offered me some wine. I said, let me get through all these segments first in my tip-top condition, and then we'll act like it's Friday, shall we? We are at Stone Wolf Vineyards. Of course, Yamhill Valley has produced many a fine thing, including that woman sitting next to you, Russ, Brenda Braxton. Yamhill County produces fine wines as well. They do it here at Stone. They do it.
Their best crop.
I haven't had a sip. I have not had a sip. They produce great wines out here in Yamhill County, including the work they do here at Stone Wolf Vineyards. We've got Fab Five Freddy punching down this morning, but the Mama Wolf, or the leader of the pack, if you will. That's that creative writing course in college coming through.
They both work.
Okay. The leader of the pack is with us this morning as well. Linda Lindsay, the owner of Stone Wolf Vineyards. You took the puncher. Do we call this the puncher or the plunger?
It's a punch down tool.
The punch down tool?
Punch down tool.
You took it from Freddie, so I guess you're going to explain to me how punch down works and why we do this.
Yep, these totes are full of Pinot Noir must.
Okay.
So this is brand new. It's hardly begun to ferment. One of the things that we have to do is, once the fermentation process begins, the dry pulp tends to rise to the top, so we have to push that down every day. And depending what the wine is doing, it tells us whether we're going to do that once, twice, 3 times a day. So the best way to do this, since we don't have a spoon big enough, is we've got to use the punch down tools.
A little bit of a workout involved here.
Especially, you come back in a week and you'll be able to stand and hang on to this thing and try to push it through. They get really hard, the cap does.
These are your busiest weeks of the year. We're now in the middle of harvest season. I know it came a little late this year because of our weather here in Oregon, but it's here nonetheless. And you've been at this now since the mid-90s, so more than 15 years of making wine in Yamhill County. Can you talk about the change, the evolution of the wine industry in this area in that decade and a half, so to speak?
We've grown an awful lot. As an industry, our most recent numbers show that we're about a $2.7 billion economic impact
and
to the state.
What was it you think when you started?
Oh my God. In 1992 there were 75 wineries. Right now there's probably 425. So
Amazing.
There's a tremendous growth. We have international recognition for Oregon wines. It's a great spot to be in.
Something I want to bring up, because I've never seen one of these before at a winery. I see these when we do the brewery stories. You've got kegs here. You deal in bottles, but now you've got these kegs as well. Tell me about the keg.
We've been working on alternative packaging. This is great for restaurateurs, large sports arenas, even if somebody's having a wedding. This keg is totally recyclable. I think we're the only ones in Oregon that have sourced a recyclable keg. So when they're done with it, they do not throw it away. We don't have to pick it up. We don't have the cost to bring it back. Simply goes to recycle and comes back as a pop can.
So it's great for the environment, but in less than 20 seconds, Linda, does it do anything for the actual wine that's inside there? Is the wine better because it's in the keg?
It actually does. It maintains the quality of the wine. The last glass is as good as the first glass. Whereas if you open a bottle, that wine immediately starts to change. This never changes.
You know, Freddie would never tell the boss this, but I will. Keep punching down this morning, Linda. It is busy around here, guys.
You're kind of tough.
Stone Wolf Vineyards. You'll find them in McMinnville. You'll find their wine at a wine cellar near you. You can check them out, though. Their tasting room open 5 days of the week, Wednesday through Sunday from noon to 4. We're way over our time limit here. Fab Five Freddy, give me 5 on a Friday. Russ and Brenda, back to you.
That's great. I learned something this morning. Wine kegs. You ever heard of that?
Yeah, I have, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard the box, the wine box. I'm very familiar with that, but thanks, Drew.
Be careful. Don't get sassy with Mama Wolf over there.